on the western beach at Koojamin on Badi land. The Badi people are traditionally from the northern part of the Dampier Peninsula. Koojamin is the Aboriginal name for Cape Leveque, and it's owned by the two communities, which is One Arm Point community and Jarinyan community. When the missions were set up in the 1900s, there was a group of Badi people here known as the Gulargun Badi people. The missionaries came here and took the people from the land here and brought them into the mission to live.
We were forbidden to speak our language, Badi, to amongst ourselves at the school or at the dormitories or in the church or wherever, you know. We know this is our traditional land.
Koojamin has the most beautifulest landscape, and I don't think you'll see that anywhere in Australia. I mean, with the blue ocean, the white sand and the red cliffs, it's magic.
William Dampier was an explorer who came to the area in 1688. He was the first Englishman believed to have come ashore in this part of Australia, and also the first to start mapping this part of Australia. Another explorer who came to the area was Nicolas Baudin, who was the captain of the French sailing vessel Geographe. He landed here in 1803. One of the crew on board the ship was a map maker named Pierre Leveque, or Leveque as the French pronounce it.
We're sitting at the top of the Cape Leveque lighthouse. It was built in 1910, built in Perth, and they shifted up here in parts. Over the years they've had quite a few families up here manning the lighthouse, working in conjunction with the local Badi people. In 1985 they automated the lighthouse, setting it up with solar, and at that time they offered the land back to the Badi people to use as a tourism development.
When the lighthouse keepers, when they decided to leave it and hand it back to the local people, then they ended up giving it to both the communities, Jarinyan and One Arm Point. And now we got it as a tourist resort. And so that's how we got it here today. Well, I think it's a beautiful area that, you know, to have someone here and show off our country to them and have it as a adventurous place where the people, tourists could come and sit down and enjoy themselves right here in the wilderness. And there's the beach, big open beach for them to sit on. And I think it's a lovely spot.
And right out over the back there, behind the eastern beach, there's remnants of the very, very first homestead that was here in the early 1900s. And when they used to bring supplies in initially, the boats used to come in and they would have donkeys cart all the food and supplies on tracks over the hill to the homestead. Remnants of the tracks are still there today. It obviously goes to show how they used to do it in the early 1900s.
We had the RAAF was stationed up here. They had a radar installation with a couple of 18-pounder guns. They decommissioned all that in 1945 and took everything away, including the guns.
Towards the western beach, there's quite a large Pindon mound, and they used to have an old gun turret that was on there in the early 1900s. Apparently used to fire out as far as the Twin Islands.
While the RAF was here at Cape Leveque, they constructed quite a few buildings, nothing too substantial. They built a sick bay of paper bark, they had a mess hall, and they had their own little campus kitchen. While the people were stationed here with the Air Force, they used to interact a lot with the local Aboriginal people. They worked at the lighthouse, they looked after the vegetable gardens and did housekeeping, minded the children, that type of thing.
Most of the local women used to go and help them do work like washing and ironing and things like that.
When the native title came down and people were recognised as traditional owners for this area, to them it means looking after our land and making sure that it doesn't get any more developed.
It's just got to stay the way it is, and the people are happy with them. Even the children who want to come over and work, do work experience or find jobs here, you know, it's there for them and it's open for them to work. And that's the future, it's for the children when they grow up.
I'm a Badi person from One Arm Point, and we're really proud of Koojamin. I'm really proud of myself to be working here because it's owned by us. The profit of the resort goes to mostly the communities and try and help them, you know. Probably in the future I might be managing the place. Yeah.
Koojamin Cape Leveque is an Indigenous-owned tourism facility, and we have a lot of faces around here that are working around the facility that share a lot of knowledge and culture. The weather's obviously fantastic up here during the peak season of May through to September. People come for the isolation. It's an adventure in itself just getting up here on the road.
Coming up here for holidays for probably the last 15 years. Every year we used to come up from Perth. Getting here was part of the adventure, and leaving again was also part of the adventure, I guess. Certainly what makes it unusual, I guess, is its isolation, its remoteness from Broome, but in particular the colours, the beautiful blue water, the lovely white sand, and the red cliffs are spectacular, particularly at sunset. The red cliffs are something to be seen.
Since the tourism facility has been given to the Bardi people, which is probably about 18, 19 years ago now, they've had a philosophy of just growing it very slowly. There's never been an urge to overdevelop the land up here.
I don't really want to see Koojamin grow as the biggest resort. I just like to see it like how it is now. But as long as we know that it is still owned by the Aboriginal people.
It belongs to our people, and this is where they originally came from. And with that comes the sense of belonging as well. I love the country, I love the landscape, I love the history that comes with it. I love it because this is my grandmother's land and I can feel proud to say that. I love it because this is a land that I can say that we belong to.